Welcome, lovebirds, to Love in the Details, a place to celebrate marriage through the beautiful stories of real couples, because love truly lives in the little things. Welcome, lovebirds. As you know, I love love and everything about it, and I love the fact that you took some time out of your day to listen to another great love story and a love journey. And this one is a little special for me because it's one of my favorite people that I used to work with. And her lovely husband. Now, out of all of the other conversations that you guys have watched, and if you haven't yet, you can go back and check them out. But this story is a little different because I got to see firsthand how it all came together. But we need to get all the details. So without further ado, my friends Joe and Tricia, you're going to love this story. So guys, thank you so much for sitting down. And also, caveat, this is one of the newlyweds. So we got a chance to listen to a lot of different couples that have been together for double-digit years. They just celebrated year one. So we're going to take a dive into what that journey has been like. So guys, number one, again, thank you so much for inviting me to your humble abode and, being willing to share, what you guys have seen and gone through and experienced in your lovely union, in my opinion. But we'll just get right into it. So we always start with ladies first. So Tricia, from your vantage point, detail to the audience, how did you guys meet?
Oh, this must kill you because he loves to tell this story. So that was calculated. He'd be like,
exactly. You tell your version of it.
Yes, exactly.
What actually happened.
Yes.
And thanks for having us, of course.
Yeah.
We're excited to be here.
Yeah.
We met happenstance. It was my last week at a location where we used to work together.
Yep.
And it was his first week at where he works. And I was going to be moving to a different office that wouldn't work with where he works. So we just happened to meet during that time. And it was on a bad day for me. I threw keys on the counter and said loafer and just walked away. And he's like, who's that? And then every time I came in after, he was just persistent. I found myself walking to his counter and he was always looking at the door. He's always greeting every customer, so.
Giving that great customer service.
Yep, and he was persistent. We met at a time where I was coming out of a bad relationship and so was he. And neither one of us were really looking for someone,
Right.
But, at least from my vantage point. But he was persistent. He kept asking me out, quite frankly, until I said yes, and showed up where I was. I told him I was hanging out with my best friend Lex, and told him what we were doing. Sent him a picture, and 20 minutes later, he was there. And he was like, "If you're not gonna go out on a date with me, I'll come to where you are and ask you again." And then we went out 2 days later, and then he went home that day from the date. I remember. Picked me up in a Subaru WRX manual, first time I've ever been in a manual car, and played Palmdale, if you've ever heard that song before, rapped all the words. And I was like, what did I get myself into? So that's how we met, in my words.
That's awesome. So now, Joe, I know you might have some cleaning up to do or adding.
She was pretty spot on. So yes, it was my first week in that location. I was in the middle of running 2 different stores. So fresh out of a not so great relationship. It was actually a very negative relationship. As she was pretty much at the same exact time. So neither of us, I don't think, were really looking for anything.
Right.
I was basically just focusing on myself, focusing on work, but one of my first couple days there, which just so happened to be her last week at that location she was working at, she comes in, throws the keys on the counter, as she said. She was in a bad mood. Apparently she had some other things going on.
It was the lifestyle.
I didn't really.
I
didn't really say anything. I just was like, "Loafer, this must be, one of the, car facilities we service." So I turn around and I go to one of my coworkers. I'm like, who was that? He's like, oh, that was Tricia. He's like, she works for so-and-so. I'm like, okay, great. I was like, how often does she come in?
Got to keep tabs on that one.
So I'm like, how often does she come in? He's like, oh yeah, she runs cars all day. So ends up, the way I go about telling the story in like a short and sweet version is I fell in love 3 times at first sight instead of fell in love at first sight. It was 3 times.
Love that.
First when she walked in, made the eye contact. I was like, oh, who's this?
Uh-huh.
We had masks, by the way.
Yeah.
This was COVID.
Oh, COVID, yeah.
So all we had was eyes. There was no smiles. There was no.
Sometimes that's all you need.
You had no idea what was going on.
She definitely
under here.
wasn't smiling under there.
No, I wasn't. That's why he tells me what my mood is by my eyebrows, because that's what he got to learn first.
So she throws the keys on.
We're going to dive into that.
Yeah.
Definitely. I like that.
She throws the keys on the counter. I'm like, oh, she's got an attitude. All right, this is nice. Right. So that was the second time. And then she turned around to go walk out, and I almost damn. That was the third. Hate to see you go, love to watch you leave. Love to watch you leave kind of thing.
Yep, if you know, you know.
That was the third time.
Okay.
So yes, I was very persistent after that. It was more or less just like conversational, like when she would come to drop off cars or whatever, waiting for a ride, because in the midst of COVID and all that stuff, help was far and few between.
Yep.
So she'd be hanging out there for 10, 15 minutes, and I'd still have my job to do, but at the same time, if I had some spare time, I'd, as I would with any customer, really talk with any customer, I'd go up there and I'd spend a little bit more time talking to her. And then, multiple attempts at asking her out, different times, randomly, like, between that. And then the cleanup part of this whole thing.
Oh, I forgot the most important part of when you ran up to the truck.
When I ran up to the truck and asked you to go out for my friends.
He knocked on the window. Like, I'm putting the truck in drive.
Right.
And all of a sudden I hear, I'm like, what? So.
Would you like to go get margaritas for my friend's birthday?
Right there.
At Puerto, up the road.
Uh-huh.
And she said she'd let me know. Blew me off. Didn't let me know. But either way.
Drama.
He still remembers that.
Still hurts to this day. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, and then, as far as me showing up to where you were, it was actually an invite when you and
It was
Lex,
casual. I'm like, yeah, you can come if you want. It wasn't like...
And I was
like me and Lex were hanging out.
I was drinking. I was drinking beer in my cousin's driveway, playing cornhole on like a beautiful like Saturday evening or Sunday evening in the summer.
And we had that pickup truck for the weekend.
They had the pickup truck, and they were in the back of the pickup truck drinking. So I grabbed one of my buddies, not knowing Lex was with Dylan at the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, come on. She's with another girl. I'm like, okay, let's go. So we drive over there.
And they're married.
Out.
So.
Yeah, they're married.
Right.
So not knowing that they were together, I was like, yeah, she's with someone else. So I grabbed one of my buddies, and we shot over there and hung out for a little bit. And I kind of put her on the spot. I was like, so when are we going out? And she was like, looking around after she just had an obnoxiously long day, so I kind of tricked you into that one.
Sure did.
And
sure did.
Yeah, so we ended up going out. I picked her up in my WRX, wrapped Palmdale all the way to our first date, and then we went back to the apartment, drank wine till 5 a.m.
Talking.
And then my alarm goes off for me to go to work.
Yeah, we were talking on the porch.
Wow. You know what's crazy? I just saw a reel on Instagram, like stating something like that. Like, on my way to see her, knowing that I got to be up at 5 a.m., but it's, late at night or whatever the case may be. And here you are doing that.
Well, we stayed up just chatting, getting everything out.
We had like a 3-hour dinner.
Yeah.
We were there for a while.
Yeah.
Like,
dinner turned into just like a couple of drinks.
it was like an interview, like a very long interview.
It was,
like we both were just like trying to like weed it out early.
Yeah,
like
we threw everything on the table first night.
Yeah.
We're like, if we're gonna be doing anything like this,
I feel like it wasn't clear that you were a Cowboys fan on the first night. Did we establish that? Because I feel like that would have been
I wore my Cowboys jersey.
No, you didn't.
I know, I'm just kidding. I should have. She would have kicked me to the curb, right?
I would have gotten the car.
Yeah,
I'd be like, hey, have fun.
Probably. That would probably do it.
That's all right. It's not like you have competition when you face us. We suck every year.
And every year is your year.
Yeah, well, for past 30 years since we won well, 96. So
You
Right.
digress.
yeah, either way.
Either way. But Joe, you mentioned something that I really want to kind of uncover a little bit. And it's something that came up in a couple of previous conversations as well. And I really want the audience, especially for any of the single men out there that, would be paying attention to, this episode. You mentioned that after getting out of a not so great relationship, you wanted to focus on yourself and focus on work. What did you uncover about yourself during that time to get over that relationship, but also take that deep dive within?
I think that's actually probably one of the best things that you could really do. Is good things come to ones who wait, I guess, is like one of the sayings that people always bring up. It's kind of the same concept. Like, you can't love somebody or fall in love with somebody if you don't love yourself.
I agree with that.
You know what I mean? So me, I was kind of just like loving everybody else. Like I had my friends. Clico.
Animal interference.
Yeah.
Animal interference.
Well, just as long as he doesn't knock it over.
Oh. We knew it was coming. Sorry.
Sorry about that. But yeah, as long as you know what I mean, a lot of people forget like the self-love and self-appreciation and things like that. So when it comes down to it, they focus so much more on other people or other things. And like, especially when it comes to like social media with how big that is nowadays, you know what I mean? Social media really kind of gives like a false appearance of what relationships and things should be, when really, you know what I mean? There's a lot of different things that go into relationships. There's a lot of heartache. There's a lot of, back and forth. There's a lot of give and take. And sometimes you got to find out who you are and do what you're supposed to do in order to get yourself right before you can even think about bringing somebody else into that as well. So like me personally, I was dealing with a lot of issues that came down from like, past relationship issues, me just like frivolously spending money. I was always a hard worker, but I was engrossing myself in work. I wasn't allowing myself to really do much outside of work other than maybe party or whatever it was that was going to get me in trouble.
Right.
And I didn't want to do that anymore. So I just focused on myself, focused on making money, doing what I had to do to make sure that I was comfortable and going to be able to survive on my own. And it was just a short period after where I met Tricia, and you know what I mean? Were either of us necessarily ready to get into a relationship at that point? Probably not.
Right.
Probably wasn't the best
Definitely
timing
not.
for either of us. But did we make it work? And did we, focus on, I feel like we both were still focusing on ourselves, even though we did it with a partner. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
she helped me in more ways than I can even think of, or like, throw out there. And I don't know, I'm sure I might have done the same for her. If not, I know she's got quite a few headaches that are named Joe, but a lot, especially over the years. But look, here we are, over a year, married, and there was a lot of like hard times in there that we stood by each other. I mean, mostly her by me, so, and I appreciate that, and I love her every day for it, so.
I love that. And Tricia, kind of the same question for you with, dealing with the not so great relationship just before, meeting Joe. Like, what were some of the things that you also did, for yourself just to separate, what you just got out of and, how you learned more about yourself before meeting Joe?
At that time, I was big into CrossFit. Like I was at the CrossFit gym every day because it's an aggressive like type of like, pulling weight, pushing weight, like gets the, anger out, so to say. I feel like it just was a moment of learning what I won't tolerate anymore. I think it was that bad that I learned very quickly after I finally cut the tie of like, I will never tolerate that again.
Right.
And then just learning about what in a partner actually brings me joy and like what I actually need and like my love language and all that. I feel like it sometimes can change like over the years, like depending on the relationship you're in, it can mold you differently. For me, like my love language is acts of service. Like that's what I learned in that time. And I mean, I think on the first date, like he showed up with like a little like mason, or maybe it was the second date, it was like a mason jar with like sunflowers. Like just like it was nothing crazy. It was just like subtle. A tiny little gesture.
Right.
And that just for me was like really affirming that like I found something that like I don't have to ask for it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just it could be there.
And especially with that being one of your love languages that you figured out for yourself without even having to mention anything, that he just did it naturally, probably added to the attraction as well, which is pretty dope, which I know there's other things that he did that I also enjoyed watching, but we'll probably dive into that.
Yeah, at my desk in the office. Yeah, my little cubicle.
Man, yeah, Joe got a lot of brownie points. So after, because both of you now mentioned date number one, like what was, after that long, 3-hour dinner and multi-hour, wine sipping conversation, Tricia, I'll go to you. What was your thought process knowing that you probably wasn't 100% ready, but you have a young man in front of you that is just showing up in ways that you haven't experienced before? Like, what was that, those self conversations like to kind of put your brain in a position where it's like, okay, what do I do?
Yeah, I feel like the next day I was just like, I know that's my husband. Like we just talked for 10 hours. Like I always call my grandmother every day, and I told her, and I'm like, she's like, how late were you up? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, and you just talked? And I'm like, Scout's honor, we just talked, like literally. And like that was really important to me. Like that it doesn't have to always be physical. Like you can really just get to know somebody and actually want to hear them, and listen to them. That's why, for me, it was more of a moment of like, okay, like caught me off guard, not expected, not searched for. At first, really not wanted, to be honest. I mean, we joke about it because it's true. Like I was kind of standoffish. I didn't really want to get into a relationship, but he was persistent, and I'm glad he was.
Love that. I'm glad you were too. So Joe, what was, at least for you, from a male perspective, because I think in a lot of the conversations that are had nowadays, and just, in general in life, it's typically the men that initiate, the asking out, the chase, as well as, is our responsibility, right? But for you, what was it like from a mental standpoint, even with the initial rejections? Like what made you want to pursue her in the way that you did?
I think, after the initial meet, obviously there was nothing really there. It was just like, you know what I mean? Like, wow, it was the initial reaction. Mm-hmm. I think it was more or less the little conversations that we had, like in those interms, in a time where the world was a really weird place. Her even taking the time and me taking the time to be able to have those smaller conversations in the middle of a hectic day would kind of bring me back down level. Like, my day's crazy. I take 10 minutes, have a conversation with her, and now I'm good. Better. You know what I mean? Like I'm back on, my head's back on straight, and I'm not, worrying. I'm all over the place. It's more of like that safety I felt, or like more, I don't know, like level-headed that I felt, like the level-headedness that I felt every single time that I like talked to her. And then going into like the first date, me and more of that conversation continued, and it was just natural. And it wasn't like we had to strain for anything to talk about. We didn't have to, like sit there and quite Q&A each other, which I'm sure there was some of that in there.
There was
you know
a little
what I mean?
bit of a list of things I needed to clarify.
But you kind of have to, right? When you're getting to know somebody.
Yeah, and we were like in our late 20s, like not to say we're old, but like, you know, like we're not 21 and just, you know, slamming down drinks together. Like we're getting to know each other, you know?
We kind of put everything out there within the first like couple of talks to where the first date happened.
So it was quick. Like everything about us was quick because of, I feel like, that first day.
Yeah.
I feel like we did like 2 weeks of dating in one night. A day.
Honestly, it felt like even longer than that. It felt like I almost like I knew like everything about her. Like almost like we grew up together. You know what I mean? After like such a short period of time, and the longer that the time went on, it just felt like we were together longer and longer. And like after the first date, it was a consistent, am I going to see you tonight? And then I'm back there that night after work. I would go to my apartment in West Haven, and then I would shoot to Stratford to her apartment after I was showered and everything after work. And eventually it became to the point where I had more clothes at her apartment than I did at mine.
Wow.
And then her grandmother even...
My grandmother suggested
of all people,
it, which was crazy.
Suggested that
it was like
why pay 2 rents?
3 weeks into, or 4 weeks into dating. It was like a month. Like we met the second to last week of May. We started officially dating on June 8th, which was the day after, or 2 days after our first date.
2 days after the first date.
I mean, that first date literally was like weeks for people of how like,
it was like a quantum leap type
it was
of vibe.
Very intentional, like just both ways of just like, I didn't want to waste anyone's time. I know he didn't want to waste time, but like there was something there, and we just needed to just see if it all meshed. And obviously there's differences, but like we were like, you know, like he pushes me out of my comfort zone like a lot, you know, pushes my buttons too, my boundaries, you know, things. But at the end of the day, like that's my person, you know, like this is who I walk through life with. So.
Now, a question that just kind of came to mind because of the time that this was, how do you guys feel that COVID either helped or didn't, you know, in the beginning of your relationship, because we all had to move differently, you know, during that time. So, you know, did you find it to be a benefit, if any?
I mean, if you don't mind, I'll answer that. For me personally, and I don't mean to say anything negatively about, I don't know, a lot of people were lost in COVID and things like that. COVID didn't really take a huge toll on my day-to-day because of the industry that I'm in.
Right.
So,
Ditto.
Yeah, exactly. Because, I mean, every day was still the same when COVID started. The country shut down.
People had to stay further away though, which was nice.
Yeah, definitely. But you were still, you know, I think in that particular time, the industry that we were all in, we were, especially in Connecticut, it was considered, you know, like that first responder, you know, important people, you know, type of vibe. So I definitely understand where you're coming from with that, because it definitely did change a few things, but I guess for y'all it helped, you know, just lesser distractions because of social distancing. So now you don't have a whole bunch of people crowding your desk. Now you get to have a one-on-one conversation with your lady. Yeah,
that was definitely part of it. I think that definitely helped kind of push the envelope a little bit, you know, with trying to get things moving and us actually being able to interact. And because it was really only a week of time that I had to be able to even really get
talking to each other with a mask on, like at a desk at work, you know,
Right.
So, you know what I mean? It really came down to, you know, COVID did affect us in other ways later on, but not so much towards the beginning of COVID like when we met.
It just forced us to be with each other all the time.
She stood by me. I got COVID really bad. We went to Oregon, came back, and that was when Oregon was like the last state to turn red. They're in like some Delta
They were like one of the safest, The
morning we flew out and landed in Oregon, they turned red. And I ended up getting whatever variant or whatever was ravishing the West Coast at the time. I come home, I thought I was just jet lagged. We go get tested because it was mandatory. She comes back negative. We're out to lunch and she goes, "Oh, look, I got my test, it's negative. I'm like, oh, cool, I just got mine too. It's probably negative. I was like, we got to go right now.
We're at Whiskey Barrel.
Came up positive. 28 days of her watching me just
Melt
into a couch.
With our kitten.
I remember.
That's when Clico was only like 3 months old. I think he got it too.
He got COVID too because he was right next to me, just as bad a shape as me. And she had to sit there and watch it. She had to cook me dinner every night, breakfast, lunch. She had to quarantine. She was able to eventually go back to work, calling me all the time, following up with me with the doctors. And I had oxygen monitors and temperature readings 20 times a day. And, you know, it was just to the point where she stood by me through all that. And we were together for not even a year.
It wasn't even 6 months.
Yeah, it wasn't even 6 months.
It was coming up on 6 months together.
And then shortly after that, when I went back to work, I ended up not being able to do the job the way I was doing it. And she stood by me when I quit because I was worried more for my health. I literally quit my job and was in the middle of not having a job, trying to figure things out. And she stood by me there too. So really it was one of those things that COVID really did probably bring us a little closer than.
At a faster pace, I think. We just face things faster. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like the first year is usually like, whatever they say, the honeymoon stages or whatever that is, but like, you're just getting to know each other and it's fun, and yes, you learn some things, but like, we were dealing with like pandemic, stuff, like real world shit. Like, are the zombies coming? You know, like, who knew? Like, it was a wild time. There was times we were paid to stay home from work. Like, that's a crazy concept to think about now. So, but no, it definitely made us also too, like, not, like, it's not necessarily about like leaning on other people, but like, you just have to like lean on the people you actually have around you. And like, your household was who was around you. So us moving in so fast, like, it gave us both essentially, you know,
an extra leg.
Yeah, quite literally, for both of us.
And I guess even in that, because I think depending on your upbringing, culture, background, things of that nature, there's some folks that will be totally for and some people totally against, you know, moving in and living with each other. What was that, you know, transition? Because I think because it was so early in your relationship, it might have allowed you guys to grow even closer together, but also learn each other in a way that you probably wouldn't have had if the circumstances were different. So Tricia, what was that, you know, process for you?
I definitely was not thinking about it. And when my grandmother suggested it, and usually like my grandmother's word's Bible. So like, I try my best to like make my own decisions, but my grandmother is like, she just never steer me wrong. She really doesn't.
Gotta listen to me, Ma.
Gotta listen to me, Ma, exactly.
Reverend Mima.
Yes. Reverend Mima. That's Reverend Mima to you. Yes.
Yes, I stand corrected.
So I feel like I lost my train of thought.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Word of Mima.
Word of Mima. Oh, when she was saying that it's time for you like to really consider this, I knew that one, she believed that like this was it for me. So that was very comforting for me because I had never lived with another man. The last man I lived with was the toxic relationship that I literally over weeks had to find a place and move out of the apartment. And that was 4 months before I met you. Yeah, 4 months.
Well, you were just moving into Stratford.
When that pickup truck that we rented was to move the last of my stuff out of the shared storage unit. So I hadn't even like totally like
gotten out.
I was out, and like we were not speaking. Like he, you know, there was nothing, but my shit was still in that box, and I had to get it out.
Yep.
So that's what we were doing that weekend, which is ultimately why I had turned him down for margaritas, even though he doesn't believe me. I was exhausted from moving.
No, I believe.
But yeah, no, that was my grandmother's word was very affirming for me that like, no, it's okay. Like, cause I was at that point in my life where like, I was ready to settle down. Like I wanted to like, you know, get married. I thought I'd be married with kids by now, you know, we're married, check. But I guess we have fur babies, but you know, the timeline that everybody always thinks, you know, but I was not in a rush by any means to move in. She made it made sense for me. She's like, you know, and it's not that I questioned anything that was here. It's just we moved in together after dating for less than 2 months. Like, that's not normal by any means.
But I think what's important is you guys did was what was best for the two of you, right? Yes, you know, Mima's, Reverend Mima's word of advice, you know, definitely played into it, but the decision was still left up to you two.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, Joe, what was that transition like for you of, you know, getting into a shared space with, you know, someone that you found yourself to be very fond of?
Well, my upbringing was a little different than hers. I've lived with girlfriends and other people like outside of like my parents' house and whatever multiple times over and over all the years. I mean, I was basically in and out of my parents' house from like 13 on. So it was like there's periods where I'd have a bunch of people living with me, either at an apartment somewhere or a house somewhere or at my parents' house. And a lot of those included the girls that I was dating at the time. And you know what I mean, it would be for extended periods, 2, 3, 4 years. I mean, I was a relationship guy. I wasn't a guy that would just jump around. When I found somebody that I wanted to be with, I held on to them, you know what I mean? Through whatever BS came along. But obviously there's a point, right? Which was kind of like the previous relationship that I got out of right before meeting Tricia. So for me, I wasn't really worried or scared or anything, you know what I mean? Stratford is only a town over. My parents live in Milford.
Yeah, I could kick him out.
If anything ever, if anything,
it was 8 minutes down the road.
If anything ever happened, I could always just end up going back to my parents' house, which was the last thing I wanted to do because I was on my own, had my own apartment by myself in my name in West Haven while I was trying to get myself together, you know what I mean? So granted, that was the same apartment that I've had to kick the previous girl out of. But it was close to my workplace. It was convenient. It was close to my closest friends who were also living in West Haven at the time. Some of them still in Milford, but not too far. But it was really, for me, it just made sense. Why pay 2 rents if I'm never there? My friends got more. My friends and other people got more use out of my apartment than I did because I was always either at work or with Tricia. So at that point, I was paying rent for other people to live in an apartment. You know what I mean? That weren't even on the lease, that had nothing there. They would sit there and play my video games, eat my food, you know, rack up my electric bill and water bill and whatever. And only time I ever went there was for clothes and little things. You know what I mean? Whenever. Or if Tricia was like out of town and I wasn't going to the apartment at the time, I would end up going back there. But it was never a pretty sight going back there, so it's like it started to not feel like home. You know what I mean? So as much as it was where all my stuff was, home started to kind of gravitate towards the apartment in Stratford where Tricia was. So that felt more of like home. That was like my safe space. Like when I'd get out of work, if I didn't want to deal with anything or didn't want to go out, I would go to Stratford. I wouldn't go to West Haven.
Gotcha.
Because I know if I go to West Haven, it's going to be a whole thing. So with all these people there, and it was, especially me trying to focus on myself, last thing I needed was other people around that are going to bring me down or get me out doing something stupid. So it came down to, you know, my safe space and my home is where she was. So that's really, it was a lot easier transition for me, I feel like, than it was for her.
And like people say, home is where your heart is. And it seemed like for both of you, the heartstrings were definitely pulling in the same direction at the same time, in an unorthodox way.
We bought this house, and the guy that built this house actually has a placard above that doorway in there. It says, a house is made of brick and stone, but a home is made of love alone. And we left it there.
We left it there, yeah.
When we moved in. And that was the guy that built the house, put that up.
So like the last people left it there too. They were here for 18 years.
And
so
the guy left it there, they left it there, and we're gonna leave it there. And yeah, that really makes so much sense when you think about it. I mean, a house is just a house.
Yep.
I mean, you can move 10 times over, but a home is where the love is where, you know, my home is right here. This is just a house. So it's our house, but it's just a house.
Right. Lovebirds, real talk, fatherhood matters. That's why I've partnered with Dad Gang, a movement celebrating dads who show up with love and pride. Hit the link in the description below to join the movement and rep fatherhood in a whole new way. Now back to the details. So now, as you know, the timeline continues to grow, the focus on one another definitely started to heighten of, you know, just being very intertwined in each other's worlds, in your lives. What was it like to get to that point of, okay, now we're super serious? Like, what were the conversations like to grow the relationship into pretty much the point of you making the decision, like, all right, I'm going to propose to this young lady? Like, what was, you know, that in between time as you guys were growing and learning each other on a day-to-day basis?
I think it was more just like a natural like mesh of our two lives.
Mm-hmm.
It was not any type of like specific type of conversation. Obviously, ups and downs, arguments and laughter, but I think really it was just like the intermingling of my friends and family with her friends and family, and then just everybody coming together. You've been to our barbecues with 100 and something people.
Yes, backyard of the apartment.
Backyard of the apartment.
Stratford,
Me having a Blackstone flat top that I bummed off Dylan to make 100 and something cheeseburgers.
Yes, indeed.
And then fireworks in the backyard of somebody else's house. So like we, you know, it was kind of just like the intermingling of our two lives just kind of made everything feel more real and like more like it was time to make that choice. And I mean, there was some hinting along the way, I'm sure, as Reverend Mima would pull me to the side and say, "You see this stone? You see this ring? I'm gonna give you this ring." Okay. All right, I see what's going on here.
Yeah. The hints are heavy.
So, you know, and then with Eric and Megan getting engaged.
And we bought the house first.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we bought the house first before getting engaged. We got engaged like 8 months later. We bought the house in June. He proposed the following.
Yes.
So we still are like.
Unbeknownst to her, she had no idea I was going to propose.
No, I really didn't.
And
honestly, I was not having a great day. That like leading like, well, it was a great day. Then I dropped my purse in the mud. It's a whole thing, but yeah.
Yeah, we gonna get to the proposal in a second. another. Actually, before we get to that, Tricia, kind of the same question for you. Like, what was that? I guess in between time of, you know, after those first couple of dates, after you guys moved in, but before proposal happened. What was that growth period for you from your vantage point? You know, learning yourself with Joe and then learning more about Joe during that time frame too.
I feel like it got real, obviously, like getting the keys to the house, like meshing all of our stuff together, like making it a home, like sitting on the couch and just like looking around. We're like, okay, like this
we're homeowners now.
Yeah. And then going through the things of being a homeowner, right? Like there's always projects, there's always things to do, like learning new things, learning how expensive oil is. Like that's great. Like learning, you know what I mean? Like there was just, you know, learning that the people before us, great people.
1 second.
I feel bad.
Keep going.
Learning that the people before us, great people, but they did a lot of do it yourself.
Yes.
Like with PVC pipe for the plumbing and like, you know, just a lot. But I feel like learning through someone who's also handy, because I'm not a very handy person. I know my strengths and I'm not handy.
Right.
He will try to fix anything, you know, so obviously part of the trade, but nevertheless, like he just wants to fix anything. So easier for me as well, becoming a homeowner with a partner versus not doing it myself.
Yes.
So I learned that really quick, that I don't have that strength and that I lean on him for that. And then just coming to the point of getting engaged. I mean, we were late 20s, and I never bought a house with anyone before. So I was like, you know, house, marriage, dog. He wanted dog first. Speaking of dog, yeah.
Right.
He wanted dog first, and I pushed it till after the wedding. We're on our honeymoon, and he's showing me while we're beachside at a beautiful luxury resort, beachside swiping, showing me dogs to rescue. I'm like, can you give me like a week just to like decompress? And then it turned into, I'm not walking this dog in the winter for potty training. So we convinced it, and it worked out, the way that it did. But yeah.
So before the proposal, I think for me, especially with seeing the growth of your relationship, from the grassroots, from an outward perspective, with all of our one-on-one chats and stuff. Trish, I'll start with you. What was it like? Because I know both of you have like really close-knit friends that, you share everything with, and you guys also hang out and, co-mingle the friendships. What was it like for you with the support from your closest friends on this relationship with Joe? What did that sound like and look like for you?
It was definitely easier because we were friends with like a lot of couples. So like he had a group of friends that there was like 2 or 3 couples in there. I was friends with Lex, who just started dating Dylan at the time. Him and Dylan have known each other prior to me and Lex knowing each other. So like that was like oh my gosh, you're dating, you're the boyfriend, So that was a really sweet moment.
It was more of, how do you two know each other?
Yeah.
We've known each other for like 15 years.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Get out
They're
of
just
here.
like dap each other up, big hugs. He's like, Dylan. I'm like, Dylan. I'm like, how do you know Dylan? But yeah, that was really like for me being able to, he is my golden retriever. Like he could talk to anyone. Like we go on vacation, he makes vacation friends. Like the cruise we were just on, people were coming up to me, like giving me praises about my husband. I'm like, what did I miss? But I just know it's because...
That's not what she said. She said, how much did you pay them?
I did say that. I literally looked at him in front of them. I'm like, how much did you pay them to come up to me and say this in the middle of the lobby bar? Like, she's like, I just have to tell you. But I mean, that's an attestament to, who he is.
I'm going to co-sign that for y'all as well, but I'll save that for later on.
Yeah. So
Joe is that dude. But now, Joe, same question for you. Like, what was the support like from your buddies once they saw, how happy you were and, how things had progressed with Tricia? Like, what did their impact and input, do for you?
I think the biggest people were from probably Eric, who was like my right hand, my like ride or die. Mm-hmm. He is, him and his wife Megan were probably the biggest word like in my ear about it, and they stood by us through everything. They basically
took me in as like a true friend too, as an individual, not just Joe's girlfriend or Joe's wife. Like became individually friends with me.
There's a difference.
And then with that being said, like they've seen all the things that I've been through.
Right.
And like with like the issues I've had with like, women in the past and things like that. And they were happy for me, which I think was the biggest thing. And then aside from them, my parents, my parents genuinely liking Tricia and knowing that she's a good egg versus some not so good eggs out there.
I need this recording to show him I'm a good egg. I'm a good egg. Just on repeat.
We're gonna clip that part for you.
Yeah, just on repeat. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think those were the biggest words because I don't really listen to the word of pretty much anybody. I just do my thing. Mm-hmm. But hearing it from people that are important to me, that she was good for me and we're good together, was probably some of the best advice overall, like towards our relationship, like as it went on.
Awesome. And I think that's important. When you're making those type of life decisions, right? The folks that know you the best, I think, help you stay on track with what it is that you have as goals, whether it's individual goals or collective goals. I think, it allows for you to think a lot more clearer because you have support from people that you absolutely trust, and their word actually means something in the decisions that you make for moving forward, especially this thing called life. It doesn't have many handbooks to navigate certain things, but when you surround yourself with folks that love you, number one, but number two, that may have different experiences, and they get to kind of teach you a thing or two, with guidance and stuff. I think that's where it definitely helps, and it shows that you guys, especially from experience, you're not hesitant to ask questions, to gain clarity, to also understand that you don't know it all, right? I think that's an attribute to both of you that you have definitely shown over time. I might be saying too much because I know too much, but with that, I think for anybody that is hearing your story and your growth process between now, well, the beginning to where we are just before proposal, those are the things I think that help relationships get stronger. Is just understanding how important those times are, but also marching to the beat of your own drum, right? Because I think time waits for nobody, right? And then when you have a good thing and a sure thing, acting on it, I think is, some of the best moves that you can make. Yeah. And you guys are a testament to that. So Joe, you definitely alluded to the proposal and a role that Mima played in that. So walk us through what that, number one, the emotion and the thought process, because I think I've mentioned this in a previous episode, like that's something huge for a man to decide, like, I want this woman to be, my life partner. Like, what was, that process like for you?
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm not the kind of person, I don't get nervous, you know what I mean? I don't get embarrassed, which probably is, for her, it's not really
Remember I said pushes me out of my comfort zone.
That one not so cohesive factor in our relationship is like the embarrassment factor. Like me, I don't get embarrassed, I don't really get nervous. So like going into it, it was more or less just, the planning of it kind of bothered me because I did have to kind of little white lies to be able to get down to Jersey, to go to the jeweler.
I had
to
no
meet up
idea.
With Mima. So like I'd have to leave work early.
And you drive to Jersey.
Tell her that I'm still at work. Drive 2.5 hours down to Jersey. I'd have to pick her grandmother up. We'd have to go to the jeweler, spend time with the jeweler, go back, drop her off, and then I'd have to drive all the way back to Jersey. And this is in the heat of traffic.
Messed up. Proposals are messed up. Because you have to lie.
I had to do it a couple of times. I took a couple of work calls in my car when it was really the photographers to get them all set up and everything like that. Eric and Megan had to hold it dear to their heart because they were my accomplices. They were...
yeah, everybody knew except me. That's the theme of my life, though.
It was the three of us, okay? And Mima.
And Mima, and my mom, and your parents. That's 8 people right there.
Pretty much everybody knew before you. Yeah. So,
yo, see, I didn't know all these details. That is crazy.
But you got to think about it. Like, it's supposed to be like a surprise.
It is.
Right?
It is.
It was a surprise.
The only way to really act on a surprise or plan a surprise is, unfortunately, there's times where things like this, like to go to the jeweler and to get with Mima. It's not like I was going to send her. Like, I wanted to pick out the setting for the stone. I wanted to pick out what make it hers. You know what I mean? I know what she was looking for.
Good job.
So
that he did.
And then then there was also a bill to pay. So I wasn't gonna send Mima to pay the bill too.
Yes.
Would have been great, Mima, but no, it's okay. I love you.
Stop it.
No, Mima does so much for us. I can't even front. But yeah, so it's really, those are the things that were like, it's so hard to keep that from somebody You know what I mean? Especially when you see them every day.
Yes.
And like
and at that point,
the
y'all living
anxiety that
together.
builds up. Anxiety is one thing that I realized I do have over the years, aside from the nervousness and and lack of embarrassment. But then when it came to planning the trip, everything kind of went, for the most part, the way it was supposed to.
Because I plan everything, and I wanted to do this, and I wanted to go to it was the ice castles. So like I wanted to go to the ice castles. It was my timeshare. So I'm like, this is when we're going. And then he kind of had the foundation to just not like
kind of snuck it in there.
Yeah, like he didn't lead to anything. He'd be like, so what are we doing for dinner? Where are we going for lunch? Like, what do you want to do today? Like, nothing was planned other than the ice castles, and that's because I picked it. So I didn't think that he was going to do it there.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But I did go into the, so we pull up, we get out of the car, she drops her purse in the mud, she's freaking out. She's very emotional sometimes. So she's got some tears
It was
going.
covered in mud.
It was only a brand new purse.
And
it was white.
No, it wasn't new. It was like one of the oldest
Was
purses
it?
I've had. Yeah, it's like this old
thought it
Coach
was-
bag. We digress.
Okay.
Yes. But Megan and Eric knew what was going on and had to like talk me off the ledge of having like a mental breakdown that I just dropped my whole purse in the mud while he snuck inside. Like he was like, right? Did you have to go to the bathroom
I
or
went
something?
to the bathroom, so I went to the porta potties and I looked at which knee I had to kneel on.
Yeah.
I was Googling in the bathroom, in the porta potty, which knee I get down on when proposing. So I did that. And then I also sent a message to the photographers and they said they were there set up, and they sent me like a location where would be a good area because there was a lot of people. So they didn't want a lot of like cross traffic and stuff.
Yep.
So basically they had set up in the front like entrance like walkway area where like it's still very beautiful. It's like the tallest part of the castles. Mm-hmm. And we walked in and I recognized them and I didn't even like make eye contact. And then eventually I was like, oh, we should take some pictures here. So we start taking some pictures and then Tiff comes over and she goes, she doesn't know that we know each other. I've never even actually met them. So like I just knew that who
just
they
talked
were
on the
from
phone.
pictures,
Oh,
like
right.
through like FaceTime and like phone and on the phone. And she comes over, she's like, oh, well, or actually I think it might have been Austin offering to take the pictures.
Yeah.
I think
You want a
Austin-
picture of the four of you?
Yeah, so they're like, oh, give me the phone. So then they have Trisha's phone and they're taking pictures and Eric and Megan on either side of us. And then all of a sudden, Trisha sees her phone just go right into Austin's pocket. And then Tiff breaks off and they both pull out both of their cameras.
Like professional cameras. And I was like,
And then all of a sudden,
I was like,
she looks over and then I'm getting down on one knee and it was just...
no, he goes, you know how much I love you, right? And I'm
that's
like,
what I was-
what is happening? And then I turn around. That's literally how it happened. But I saw and they swung those things around quick too. Like they were like they swung them around, they had them ready. And I'm like, and then as that happens, he goes, you know how much I love you, right? And I'm like, and then I looked and I blacked out. And then I cried for
And then when she woke up...
I
No, I'm just
cried
kidding.
for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes straight. I think I cried.
Yeah, probably. And then maybe
Yeah.
even after.
They were like, we got to get pictures of you. I'm like, I can't stop crying.
But yeah, no, then we did a whole photo shoot while enjoying the ice castles.
Ice castles
and-
are really cool, yeah.
Yeah, we had a lot of really great photos. It was a good time. And it was actually a good meet too because like they are the same photographers that did our engagement shoot. They did I think, did we go back and do another one or it was just the two?
No, it was just the two. We have plans to go back again,
Yeah,
but
and honestly,
Yeah.
it was a sad day when they couldn't shoot our wedding, but
our photographers were great.
Yeah, our photographers were great, but I mean, we saw them as like they did the proposal, they did the engagement shoot, and they were supposed to do our wedding or whatever, and then whenever it came down to it, the date didn't work for them. So,
Right.
and they actually asked if we would change our date.
Yeah, she was crying on
Yeah.
because they saw when they got to know us, they were like, I can't believe you live so far away. Like we'd love to hang out with you guys. Like again, Labrador
dope.
Golden Retriever. Like everyone loves him, that meets him. So and then they're just really cool people. We just meshed very well. But
Yeah.
That is actually pretty dope. That is actually pretty dope. And for those of the folks out there that, you know, keep that conversation going, that men don't like to plan stuff, execution was, spot on.
Definitely.
Spot on. All the planning, all the navigating, yes, kudos to you, sir.
Just don't lie.
But it's kind of hard to kind of do that.
What'd you say? You say you omitted the truth.
I
You just didn't tell the whole truth.
The whole truth, right?
It wasn't even not even telling the truth. You just get to the point where if a question's not asked, you're just not giving
It's
the information.
avoidance.
Yes.
You know what I
Yes.
mean? But at the same time, it has to be in a situation where, like, obviously it's a good thing. Like, you don't want to omit information when there's other things going on. But with that being said, you know what I mean? I think, you know, the omitting of information leads to a great thing. So really it's at the point where it's kind of just pushed under the rug at this point.
Yes.
No more surprises, though, right?
Yeah,
That's really about it.
So now that we get to the point of, you know, having the great proposal, obviously the wedding was pretty dope based on pictures, because unfortunately I missed that, you know, just because of timing of, you know, what was going on with Davina being in the hospital at that particular time. But I think for me, why I wanted to have this conversation with you guys is you both, especially for someone at the time that was, you know, madly in love with my wife. We had already did double-digit years. We had, you know, seen a lot of different things, you know, during our time together. And, you know, watching you guys, you know, just grow as a couple and march to the beat of your own drum. Hearing the story now get put together like this was, you know, everything that I imagined it to be. And I hope that folks are getting some takeaways and, you know, appreciation of, you know, what young love can do to two individuals that were strangers at once, but then now, you know, you're here living just a beautiful life together, which now transition into our, you know, second segment, which I call my favorites, because again, having the shoe in, you know, to, you know, be close to you guys, I think I got a little bit of a cheat code, but being able to live vicariously through you guys is something that I enjoy doing, because I'll let you tell the story, but you guys do take a lot of trips and, you know, and also just do a lot of activities together, right? So Tricia, I'll start with you. If you had to name like one of, actually we'll kind of chop this up a little bit. Events. What was one of your favorite events that you have had the opportunity to experience with Joe?
We had a year of weddings. We had 8 weddings in 1 year.
I remember that.
So
that was crazy.
Yeah. So I feel like, I don't know, I feel like either Alexa's wedding or Matt's wedding, like Matt and Marissa.
I mean, they all were great.
They all were great
honestly,
weddings,
it was
but like
just the fact of back to back to back to back.
Yeah.
And different places, different groups
states.
of people.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nobody really like meshing over. I don't know. I just feel like we're always finding a dance floor. Like, again, no embarrassment. Like, no, you know, like he's just gonna do his thing. He's got his little shuffle. He's got, you know, a couple things he does. So,
I find the oldest lady in the room.
Yeah.
In the whole place, and I have to spin her on the dance floor.
So maybe
that's like my thing.
You know
I
what?
don't know why.
Maybe it's Catherine's wedding, because I think that was
Catherine's when the two.
Yeah, we went out to Minnesota and we had a really great time seeing our friend Sarah, and she wound up coming to Catherine's wedding as well. And I got to see some friends, mutual friends of mine and Catherine's from out of state, and we were at this table that was all a bunch of friends from all different places that were friends with Catherine or Mitchell, and like we all just kind of got put together. We're like the friends table. Like it was all couples.
Right.
And we were table 6. And we just had the best night. Like he kind of started it like table 6. Like we would find each other across like the venue. Table 6, like putting up 6 in the air. Like, you know, so I feel like that was probably one of my most fun events that we've done together.
Hold on.
But I think, you know, going to weddings as a unmarried couple, I think you get to, I don't know, soak in a lot more things, you know, with each experience, especially that particular year, because that's
It was a crazy
run.
year. Yeah, but that was literally like, what, 2022, right? 2021, there was no amount of like crazy weddings like that. 2022 was like really when the first world, like it opened
back up,
you know,
yeah.
so to say, fully, like not so much restrictions with like people, like you didn't have to wear a mask anymore. So it's funny that you ask like some favorite like memories and trips, and you mentioned being like trips and stuff, because he's always like, when can we just stay home and do nothing? Like it's still that way, even worse now. I feel like
it is worse since we got the house.
Yeah, he's like, why would you want to leave? We could just stay here. So I feel like I've been trying to do less activities and making it more his decision of when we do activities, so that, honey, you said that you wanted to do it.
It's not so much that I don't want to do these things. It's that in my age, okay? No, I've been getting tired. We are go. And with work and everything, you know, having the puppy, you know, trying to maintain the house, and really just with everything, you know, it came down to the point where just like, I'm getting tired.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like, if we're thinking about, you know, kids, which we have been, you know, it really comes down to, you know, money management, time management. So a lot of those things don't need to necessarily go away. We still have plans to travel, even with kids.
Yeah.
And then, you know what I mean? So we're still going to be doing traveling and going to events and doing things. It's just more or less like, how are we going to manage it? So I figure it'd be easier to start managing those things now, you know, with examples of like the dog, you know what I mean? The cat's pretty self-sufficient. We have an automatic everything for him, so he can literally live for a month without us here.
Dogs are children. Literally, we have a child who barks.
Right.
And whines.
And whines.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's me just kind of getting ready for the next stages. Is like spend more time home, do more like things around here, you know, not going out, you know, as much as I love to go to Hot Tamales and Charm Lemon and Jimmy's and go to all these places.
Plugs. Tag them.
Right?
So all these places, you know what I mean? Like, you know, as much as I love to do those, you know, every, you know, other night of the week or whatever, Sundays char, Hot Tamales for tacos, Tuesdays, Wednesdays wings, we haven't really been. And it's more or less like, okay, time and money management, I feel like it really is. And like, and it's kind of bringing me closer to this house that I felt like wasn't so much of our house, it was more just a house.
Right.
Because one, we weren't really here, it wasn't really like put together fully yet. And we're, 3 years in this house, and I'm, you know, I feel like I don't want to leave my house. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's more of like a place of comfort than it is like a job. You know what I mean? At first couple years, it feels like a job because you're getting it to be to where you want it to be.
Yep.
So now I get to like sit and enjoy of the house, you know? So I'm okay with just staying here.
You still have to say what your favorite event is.
Oh, favorite event. It was
probably Tricia. Thank you.
Honestly, I don't know. Sorry, I kind of.
No, you're good. You're good.
Favorite event was it's a toss up. Probably between first trip to Aruba, because it was my first time out of the country that was forced upon me, and the wedding. Wedding was sober the entire time, which is probably the only event I could ever say.
Yeah, I should have picked the wedding.
I was waiting for it, but you know, that's right.
I wasn't thinking of the wedding.
I got it.
There's no right or wrong answer, so we can add to that. You know,
she picked a whole year, so it wasn't a single event.
You're right. You're right.
But yeah, the favorite event was definitely the wedding. Not only the I guess that weekend, because we had the two weddings, not only seeing all of our people in one space for those that could make it, but also knowing that I went through the entire day sober and remembering all the details so clear and being able to, you know, show off our dance moves and have all that time.
We went to dance class.
Yeah, it was just
Right near you, actually.
Yes.
So yeah, no, it was just a day that like I'll never forget, and it like sticks out to me. Like it's still the background of my phone, like a lot of the pictures and like stuff like that. It was just like one of the happiest days of my life. So with that being said, you know what I mean? That's probably one of my favorite events we've ever been to. Granted, we were the hosts technically,
Right.
but a lot of events sometimes, you know, we end up being the host of a lot of events.
I like hosting.
Life of the party.
Yeah, I
Life of
like
the party.
hosting though. You come to me.
Yes.
Lovebirds, here on Love in the Details, we celebrate growth in love, life, and in business. That's why I'm thrilled to partner with the Business League, the sponsors of this podcast. They help entrepreneurs turn ideas into thriving businesses with practical tools, expert guidance, and a supportive community. Whether you're starting out or ready to scale, the Business League makes the journey smoother and more intentional. Check them out through the description box below and take your next big step with confidence. Now back to the details.
So I guess another favorite to detail, favorite trip.
It's so hard because Explorer was just recently, and it was
Explorer
unreal.
was-
But I would say our honeymoon. I loved that hotel. I loved the service.
Where
it
did
was
you guys
just
go?
us. We went to Cabo. It was a place called Grand Villas, and it was the boutique side, so it was adults only, and it just opened up earlier that year. And it only has 70 something rooms, so it's a more like there's a bigger resort next door that you can go to. We had a Michelin star 12-course meal. We did tomahawks twice that week just because we could. Fresh ceviche and guacamole delivered to my pool chair. Octopus tacos, bone marrow like tacos. I think we had too. I mean, I'm drooling. And my stomach's starting to rumble too. So I feel like that, but also too, we obviously were just go, and we finally just got to do nothing with no schedule. Didn't have to talk to anyone other than us. Like obviously he made friends. You know, we made pool friends.
yeah.
We
had a
stayed in
group.
touch with them. There was a group by the end of the week.
by the end of the week that we did everything together.
Yeah.
So it was,
we met at the pool bar for happy hour. We met after dinner for
we did
drinks.
all the wine and tequila
We
and
did all the
chocolate tastings. And,
Yeah, it was fun. We call them, like, I think it was, what do we say, vacation friends?
yeah, but we still keep in touch with them.
We do. Yeah.
Oh, that's dope.
Some of them just recently got married actually, and
Yep. And
possible.
Yep, I'm planning some vacations of theirs as well. So super exciting that, kind of full circle. But yeah, I would say that place. I can't wait to go back. The weather was perfect. Just the time of us to unwind. We got the wedding photos while we were out there, like the sneak peek. We got the video sneak peek. I was sobbing at the pool. Like, it was just really special to like
It was a
live in
phenomenal
that
time.
week, like live in the wedding for a week. Like we got to look back at all the pictures together, like uninterrupted time.
A lot of people say that they're gonna do their honeymoons later on and whatever, and I feel like
don't
they
know
never get
why.
around to it.
Yeah.
Honestly, that was a much needed week, and that was probably my favorite trip ever. You know what I mean? I would live in the beach if I could. And that was some of the best snorkeling just right off the beach. I had a phenomenal time. I was like, can we go snorkeling again? I was like,
Have you ever seen those memes where like the wife is laying out and having like a margarita, reading a book by the pool, and then the husband's like belly flopping in the pool and like
Doing all the
snorkeling?
crazy stuff, yes.
Yeah, like you can't really sit still. I feel like you sat still a lot of that trip, which
I
was
did.
quite nice. I think you needed it, but these people like that hotel, they won't let you do anything. Like if you go to raise your umbrella, they're running over, Mrs. McNary, no, I got it. I'm like, okay.
I'm like, listen, I
Like
can
from
raise
across
my
the
own
pool.
umbrella, okay?
Hector was the one guy's name that we loved.
Yeah. And then the lady, her name starts with an M. I can't believe I'm blanking. She was phenomenal.
Yeah. Well, shout out to her.
Yes. Because it sounded like they took care of you guys, which
Yeah.
is dope.
Oh yeah, it was phenomenal.
Good service, good food, good drinks.
Beautiful the entire
Beautiful
time.
weather. I mean, it was a dream.
Nice.
It's supposed to be. I feel like
Right.
it's supposed to be.
Right.
I'm hoping it's not a once in a lifetime. I hope we get to go back there because it was expensive, but you get what you pay for.
Yeah,
it
got
was
it.
worth
Most certainly.
every dime.
And we
Every
drank and
dime.
ate enough to pay for.
Oh my God.
To validate the bill.
Oh my
Right.
God.
Let's just say that.
Yeah.
And that
Kate
makes
alone.
you feel better.
Yeah, definitely.
I was like, listen, it probably would have been more if we didn't do the all-inclusive.
Yeah, 100%.
That's a fact.
So-
Yeah.
That's a fact. So a bit of a switcheroo. Favorite staycation?
Staycation, like in this house, or like
Just whenever,
driving
through
distance.
just whatever you guys did that you didn't have to go anywhere, but you just enjoyed, you know, that time, event, space, whatever it is, but just that low key time together. What would you list as your favorite thing that you did?
I would say our old beach trips, like the times where we would get a rental and go up to like Miami Beach in Old
In
Saybrook.
Old Saybrook, yeah. It was
We'd get
literally
like a
called
gladiator.
Miami Beach.
We'd get like a Gladiator for the day or for like
Or
the
like a
weekend.
Mustang
Right.
convertible,
Or like a
yeah.
convertible Mustang, and we would just get a rental car just because, and just drive and end up at like Miami Beach in Old Saybrook and go there, have some
Stay till
drinks, lay out
sunset,
on the beach, and just hang out there and then drive home. It would just be like a day
With the top
thing.
down.
And you know,
It's the simple things, man.
Yeah.
simple things like that. You know what I mean? You know, we've had times where little hikes and things. Like most of the time, we're out away already, but like, you know what I mean? Just like enjoying like the outdoor space and like the tranquility and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, of being able to just do a fire pit in the back and like have a fire and just sit around it and yell at the TV for football or something. You know what I mean? Like little
Right.
things like that are the times that like I don't enjoy being a Cowboys fan, but I enjoy having the back porch with the fire pit.
Yeah.
Nice, nice.
But yeah, I think those old like beach trips were my favorite staycation. Like
I like the movie nights we used to do in Stratford in the apartment, because we used to have like a pull-out bed. So like that was the couch that faced the TV. So we would just like get a bunch of pillows and popcorn and blankets and the cat, and we had like Christmas lights inside the apartment, and we'd just stay home and watch movies.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
What about, actually, I'll go to Tricia first with this one. Favorite date?
Favorite
Whether
date?
it's before or after marriage, doesn't matter.
Oh my goodness, that's hard. I feel like our first New Hampshire trip that we took, because we got engaged in New Hampshire. So like on our first New Hampshire trip, we ate at like this little tiny place. Like we walked there. You know the place I'm talking about? Had like all the weird like painting, not weird, but like
Yeah, it
different
was like
eclectic
the gypsy
paintings.
spot
and,
or something
I don't
like
know.
that.
But like, it just was such a, I don't know, I felt like a New Englander for sure, but like, walking the cold street down like in Lincoln, like 20 degrees outside in the snow.
Right.
And then like, it was just like a cute little cozy place. The food was good. Like, I remember it being good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's either that or I would say MJ's when we were sober. We weren't allowed to drink. Like we were on the 75 hard program.
Yeah.
And we went to MJ's at the casino, and it was the best steak we've ever had. Like we were both like, we salivate thinking about it. And on the menu they had dirty martinis, hot and dirties, and we couldn't drink them. And we love dirty martinis. We're like, hot and dirty, because it's like a little spice, and we love spicy.
Like we're gonna have to come
So
back.
I just remember it was, I ever drank Saratoga and the sparkling water.
Yep,
and we crushed like 3 bottles of it just because it was the only thing we could drink.
That had bubbles and sparkles.
Yeah.
Yep,
And
yep.
Sugar. So
we
no
talked
soda.
about the next time that we were going to be back there off the program, then we went back, obviously, because it was delicious, and got those hot and dirties,
Still
and they
the
were
best hot and-
life-changing.
Still the best hot and dirties.
Life-changing, but I would say that would be one of my favorite dates too, because we were also like working on ourselves, being better people, like sticking to a diet. Like we didn't order the mashed potato trio, like we went back for it, but like we didn't order it that day, you know, like I feel
Trying to
like
stay disciplined.
yeah. So like it was not only a great date, great food, but also too like we were like making good choices together, you know?
Joe, your favorite date?
I would also say there's a mix-up or toss-up, not a mix-up, a toss-up between the same New Hampshire trip when we went up for We just went. We went up there, stayed at the timeshare, and then we did a jump around. We went to a couple different breweries, like Reckless and all those places. Like that was probably one of my favorite like dates. It was just like a quick weekend. You know, the just jumping around from brewery to brewery, just enjoying the scenery. The very like up there, it's very like quiet, calm. You know what I mean? Even when you get to the breweries, you're looking around, you see families with their dogs at the brewery, good food, good beer, and they're like everybody's just out enjoying their flying kites.
They're outdoor people.
They're outdoors. They're playing cornhole. They're playing fetch with the dogs. They're playing frisbee, and everybody's just sitting around having a good time, just intermingling, and just everything just seems so like simple and easy at that time.
Right.
It always does up there, though.
Yeah, and then either that or Boston, which we do fairly often. Boston is probably one of my favorite cities. It's just.
Which date?
It's, I would say, probably the time we went up and we did Red Fox and Boston Sail Loft.
Yeah.
Was that the Brett Eldridge?
Yeah.
It was Brett Eldridge Christmas.
It was yesterday.
Was it? We missed it?
Sad. Yeah.
But yeah, we did
Friday.
Brett Eldridge. We went up. We do speakeasies all over the place. So we did speakeasy called the Red Fox, and then my favorite place in Boston for lunch is the Boston Sail Loft. They have the best New England clam chowder you will ever have in your life. So we go there, and like anytime we're in Boston, I'm like, I don't care what we do. If we get to the Boston Sail Loft, I'm happy.
Right.
I think we also did the aquarium that time too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the aquarium's like every once in a while you gotta go and just check out what's new, but it's like probably like one of my favorite aquariums. So, and we did a lot that go around. But
Okay.
yeah, I
That
would say
date
that's
was a
probably
long date.
It
was all day.
Yeah, it's a whole day thing. Started off morning. Yeah,
It's a multi-layer date.
Lunch, dinner, Brett Eldridge. So it was a
Nice
whole
long date. That's
Yeah.
what's up.
Yeah.
That's what's up. All right. So that actually, before we transition to the last part of our conversation, is there any other favorites that came to mind while you guys were listing things?
Yeah. I feel like it's hard to kind of pick. I just picked the ones that like I could easily like speak to, but
Right.
I feel like there's like a whole Rolodex of like,
There's,
you know,
yeah, just I'm playing it all over in my
Yeah.
head, and it's like I don't know
it's hard to pick
where
the
to
one
stop
card.
it.
Yeah.
Right.
Not an exact favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, looking at that painting, I think some of the photo shoots were probably
Yeah. When the photo shoot that we did in New Hampshire for our engagement
the
was
lupins.
like, we were just in the middle of nowhere, no service. The lupins only bloom for a few weeks out of the year in June. Like it's like you have to be there at the right time.
And they actually bloomed late that year and only bloomed for like 2 weeks instead of 4.
Yeah.
So it was like we got so lucky to be able to even see them.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was also a really like a favorite day, I would say.
Yeah.
We got to see the sunset. We were like walking through the fields.
See all the mountains.
Yeah.
and-
Like just goofing off, like, you know, because pictures are better when you're being silly. Like the photographers literally, like anybody that's done a photo shoot will know, like they tell you to like sometimes walk a little more exaggerated, or like we were like spinning each other around in a field of like daisies. I'm like, this is cute, you know, like
Yep.
giving me Notebook vibes out here.
Right.
So
Right.
I feel like that was a really great day, like a favorite day.
And that's when she found out I was a Cowboys. But no, I'm just kidding.
No,
Because we had the jersey shoots.
we were already engaged at that point. I
gotcha.
accepted it.
We had a couple different outfit changes throughout the shoot, and one of them was our jerseys. So we're walking through the field with like jeans on and like both of our jerseys like holding hands. But that was our engagement shoot, so that was probably another like favorite of mine. Definitely.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, then that leads into the next segment, which is 3 little things. Because I feel with putting this podcast together, and, you know, for the folks that, you know, follow from episode 1, Ella Mae's song "Little Things" is it hits different. You know, when you have the chance to sit down and really think about your person and why they are, you know, who they are for you and to you, you can't help but to think of the little things that help you solidify making that that person, your person, who they are for you, right? So actually, Joe, I'm gonna switch up and start with you first. What is one little thing that Tricia does for you or to you that you absolutely appreciate that is outside of the normal things?
I just think it's her overall, like, to be honest with you, like her loyalty, honestly, I think is probably one of the biggest things, and like kind of generalize it, I know. She's the type of person that will go to bat for anybody that she cares about.
I would agree.
Any day of the week, regardless of what the outcome is going to be. And that loyalty just carries over into all aspects of her life and into our relationship. So it's to the point where, every single day I see it, whether it's from the outside or here in the house. That loyalty carries over into, how she moves throughout the day. And that's probably one of my favorites.
Awesome. Tricia, your turn.
I like my favorite thing is that every time we pick up the phone or like anytime we have a phone call, he always says, I love you. Like, he'll never hang up the phone. Like, even if I'm mad at him, he will always say, okay, well, I love you, goodbye. Like, and he'll wait. Like, he'll wait for me, So I feel like that for me, like, along with like every morning, like before he leaves, he'll always give me like a kiss on my forehead, like while I'm asleep. And then when he gets home every day, or if I get home, like it's always a kiss hello. Like I feel like, and a kiss goodnight. Like it's always, and I feel like you told me that about you and your wife as well. So that's why, like, I feel like we connected on that early, but that's something that it's little. It's very little, but it means a lot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So don't stop doing that, sir. All right. Second favorite little thing.
We'll kind of feed off what she kind of, addressed a moment ago. She can see when I'm reeling, basically. Like if I'm like, she knows how I'm going to react before I react, basically. And that allows her to be able to kind of bring me down, like back down to like normal space. Like, cause I can, go off on a tangent when I'm pissed off or upset about something, or just overall, like just, angry or fed up, and she can see it before it happens. So like one of those little things is her having that,
That
foresight
sense, yes,
into being able to notice when I'm starting to feel that way and kind of bring me back down to earth and, put me in check, basically.
Yeah.
I think that's probably one of my favorite little things.
Because when you have someone that can have that ability, you really can't put into words on how important that can be, especially in the moment when you need it the most. So I understand that. Tricia, your second favorite little thing.
I'll say how much you always make me feel better about myself. Like, I have like moments of weakness, or like, every woman, wow, I look like crap. Like, oh, my hair looks like shit. Like, oh, this dress doesn't fit me right. And like, he never like hesitates to be like, no, you look great. Like, you're fine. Like, you're, like it's not a hesitation. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it's maybe just comes down to like just listening and like hearing me and like knowing what I need to like snap me out of the funk. And again, like we're talking about like little moments, I guess, but like they are big things. So like it's hard to like kind of, take away the favorite little things, because they always are matching like the bigger, acts of service and the love languages that are happening across that. So.
And that's why this segment exists, because of that. All right. Last one, sir.
I think it's more of like the check-in. Like just the daily, like, I don't need to know everything she's doing at all times of the day. Most of the time I'm at work, I'm like, why is she calling me? She better be on the side of the road somewhere. That's a lot. But to me, honestly, as much as I shoo her off the phone if it's not an emergency, those check-ins, I do appreciate them. Honestly, it actually lets me know like that she does want me involved. She wants me to know what's going on. She obviously wants me around.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Granted, I can't be there 24/7. Granted, I can't be granted, I can't be there 24/7. But at the same time, it does show me, that, how much I'm involved in her life. Like when a phone call throughout the day, just to kind of give me a heads up on what's going on, or what she, even if she's mad about something, and I try to let her vent or try to talk her off the ledge, or if she goes to the dog park and some lady's yelling at her, and I tell her a choice set of words that I would have used, where she handled it much better than me, made her feel a little bit better. But having that check-in throughout the day allows me to realize, like, hey, listen, this work day may feel like it's lasting forever, but when I get home, it doesn't matter how the day went. I'm going home to my wife. So,
love that.
That's
going
nice.
home to my wife. I love that. Your turn, Tricia.
And that's where I'm going with. It's the making me laugh. Like, even when I'm mad, like whether it's at him or just life, something ticked me off. I'm a person that yes, I know you're looking at me. I hold on to it. Like, it harbors. Like, I need to work on that as an individual, like to not let things ruin my day. Mm-hmm. You've known me for a long time. But like, he's like really cracked the code of like, he'll just say the simplest thing, and it'll be so stupid sometimes, but it'll make me crack. And like, he eats it up. He loves it. Like, he feels like he won,
Yes, yes.
But that means that obviously, like, one, he doesn't want me to continue the funk, but two, like, me. Like, I won't be angry forever, but like, he'll make it happen faster. Like, we're all lighten up, I guess, so to say. Because he's very, like, he gets over things very easily and like moves forward and like just pushes it out. Like me, I harbor and dwell, unfortunately. I own it. But yeah. So.
I'm trying to get her on the wave of like, listen, like, the time has came and gone. Like, who cares anymore? Like, you know what I mean? That's the kind of mentality, because I used to harbor things like that too. And it used to be, I used to just be an angry person all the time.
I'm not an angry person. I'm not
saying that, but I'm saying I was an angry person all the time. And I walked through life that way, and I just realized over the time, especially, having somebody so close to me all the time, throughout the day and at night, just, it's really not worth holding on to all that BS anymore when there's so much more to look forward to, you know what I mean?
Agreed.
And that goes with, like, again, like, pushing me out of my comfort zone in the sense of, like, the, not embarrassment, because it's just that he's a little loony, a little out there, he's a definition extrovert. Even though he acts like an introvert wanting to stay home, when he's in a crowd of people, the light is shining on him. He is ready to give a show. Literally gave a show on our cruise.
That's because they put me on the stage.
You wanted to go. He was waiting for him. He's like, please pick me.
I literally just woke up from a nap. And she's like, we're going to the comedy show. I'm like, okay. We get down there. And they're like, oh, I need a volunteer. And everybody just points at me. And I'm like...
He loves it.
All right.
He loves it.
I guess.
He loves
it.
It's not the first time.
You had people all week. You were the guy on stage last night. Or you were the guy. Yeah, he loved it.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Well, number one, thank you guys for sharing that, because I think, and I hope that even after we're done here, that you continue to appreciate those little things and even find more and talk about them. Because that's part of the reason I added this segment in, is just for couples, no matter how long you've been together and, what walk of life you're into, just reflecting on those things and just adding more to your situation, whatever it is, and shining that light on your partner. I think sometimes we forget to do that, from time to time. So I'm glad that you guys were able to, share those things. So, and the last part, to wrap up everything, I call this segment The Virgo's View, because I like to tie a bow on our conversation, from the beginning to the end. So one of the things that drew me to talking to you guys, your trajectory to happiness from the outside right? And especially as individuals, right? Because obviously, Tricia, you know, you and I working together and creating the bond that we have was definitely helpful of just getting that, you know, magnifying glass into, you know, your life, but seeing the transition from, you're not going to believe this, but, you know, I met this guy and here, you know, here's what happened. And then it's like, we're moving in together. And then all of a sudden, Joe starts popping by the office, right? One of the little things, this is my little thing with them, but mainly Joe. This is how Joe got my my vote of confidence. I don't know how long, but when you guys really first started, you know, really dating and becoming serious, I saw Joe every day. Joe came to the office to bring Tricia's coffee every single morning.
Dunks.
Man. And, you know, for me, and not saying anything, I think even before I mentioned it to you, one thing that I think doesn't get enough notoriety and it's not given the due just respect that it deserves is consistency, right? And I think that tells a lot about how a person is naturally, but then how they view you in their life, right? So from the moments where you wasn't working to when you actually started working doing the you know, the next venture, you know, after, you know, your industry switch, it didn't stop, right? And that's when, for me, I'm like, okay, Tricia, like, let's hone in on this dude right here, because that level of commitment to, number one, getting the chance to learn and understand, you know, what her favorite coffee is, right? Knowing that without that coffee to begin her day, you took that as a job within itself, right? And you made that very, you know, very important to your day on how you started your day. So before you ran out and did what you had to do, that coffee was on time every day, right?
Forgot about that.
Huh?
I kind of forgot about that.
Man, I didn't.
I could, like, when we're sitting here talking about it, like, I could hear the door. I could see him, like, walking in with the coffee all the time, like, obviously greeting everybody.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
everybody loves Joe.
So you won me over. I'm not your woman. But you know,
texted me your order. Would have brought you on too.
You're good. You're good. It would have been a blueberry donut. That's it.
Yeah, he's
right?
a coffee drinker. Yeah.
But, you know, for me, again, just having that vantage point of just seeing that and just seeing the effect that it had on Trish on a day-to-day basis, to the point where it just became the norm, even for everybody in the office. They knew when they heard that downshift, you know, before you pulled in, it was, and even if the visit itself, whether it lasted 30 seconds or 30 minutes, it really didn't matter. Everyone was almost waiting for, where's Joe with Tricia's coffee?
Yeah, if
right?
he didn't come in, it was kind of like, Joe,
Is Joe okay? Yeah. Right.
Tricia, what'd you do with Joe?
yes. And then it's almost like you had a built-in support system that you didn't even know existed.
Yeah, that's
right?
true.
Because there were so many people, our entire office was Team Joe.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? You know, to kind of see that and I guess be along for the ride, right? So, you know, you creating that bond and relationship with Mima because you understand how important Mima is to Tricia, right? And then just engracing yourself into, you know, her space, her life with her important people. I think that also, even though Tricia didn't mention it, I know that meant the world to her, that it was important for you to, you know, show up the way that you did. And now hearing that Mima was so much involved in the process of, you know, picking the ring out, and just planning, you know, different things together, I think that is pretty dope. And then even from a male perspective, to understand the importance of that sit down, let me talk to myself, let me get myself right. I think that needs to be talked about more, by all men, to get to that point that we are okay with being in our own skin. We are okay with peeling back the layers that was probably once either not taught or talked about, when we were probably even teenagers and young men. It's okay to start whenever that is. So whether it's in your early 30s or your late 70s, when you have that aha moment of, this is me. These are the things that are important to me. This is what I want. This is who I want as far as characteristics, traits, everything like that. I think that it's very important. And then both of you also mentioned, getting over and getting through a bad relationship, right? It's important to take that deep dive and understand how important it is to move on, right? Because those times don't last, right? And I know there's a saying out there, what is it? Like, tough times don't last, but tough people do. Like, I think that's important in the dating world as well. Like, you have to take lessons out of even not so great situations and learn from them, because you're either going to learn what not to do, what not to endure, later on, but you're going to also learn more about yourself, right? Of, what you're able to tolerate, what you're able to pull yourself out of. Because there are certain times there may be things that you're even not comfortable talking, to with one of your friends, right? So the best person you can talk to is yourself. And it sounds like you guys had those opportunities to do that, which I commend both of you for. And then even, getting through, even the tough times that, I know that you guys had to kind of navigate and wrestle through. The fact that you still had that respect for one another to know, like, even with all of this going on, I'm not going anywhere. Mm-hmm. Right? I definitely felt that, obviously, with being that close to both of you and having individual conversations with both of you over the years. The number one thing that you guys maintained is each other. Keep doing that, because as you continue to, grow with one another and your life continues to evolve, eventually when kids come into the picture, all of these things that you guys have done in the beginning and up until now, those are going to be your building blocks and your foundation that you're going to have to weather any storm that life throws your way, right? Because I think experience is always going to be the best teacher, right? And when you have experienced a lot of, roller coasters, throughout your relationship and you now have that understanding that we're good, right? We've seen X, Y, and Z, and we're still here. And the love is just as strong, if not stronger, right? And then I love the fact that when we got to, favorites, obviously, I know there's a laundry list of more things that you guys could have listed, but the fact that you guys were present in those different moments. So whether it was a trip, an activity, an event, a wedding, you guys had different vantage points, but you were still connected in appreciating what you guys were doing with one another. Continue doing that. Because that memory Rolodex is a fun thing to just sit down and talk about, from time to time. So even challenge yourselves in one of your, Netflix and chill type of nights. Just, hey, you remember when? Like, I think having those moments and talking about them just adds to the appreciation, not just for what you guys did, but more of doing it together, right? And then lastly, the little things, man, like each of those things, and Tricia, you mentioned it, while listing yours, it sounds so small, but yet they're so massive. Keep finding and pointing out those things, because that's, at least from my experience, it hits different when you have those conversations of the appreciation of doing whatever that small gesture is, right? And Tricia mentions it a lot as far as the love language. The fact that both of you speak each other's love language fluently, I think is also special as well, right? And I hope that you guys don't lose sight of doing those things, because it's going to continue to make each year easier, right? Because again, you guys just completed year 1, and studies show the honeymoon stage of a marriage is in that first, I think technically speaking, is 7 to 10 is that window, right? But to me, it doesn't always have to be like doom and gloom, because I think there's a lot of folks that kind of throw that out there like, oh, it is so hard and whatever. But the more you work on it together, the more you appreciate one another, the more you reach for those small things in those big moments, in those heated moments, whether it's cracking the joke or not getting off the phone without the I love you, keep all of those things going, right? Because you're going to realize some of the things that we may argue about as a married couple, it doesn't last long, right? And then it's par for the course. It's going to come, right? But it doesn't have to stick around very long. And I'm happy to hear that those moments don't change, what you guys already have, right? And I think that's going to be key as you guys continue to grow as a unit. And also, I think you're going to be able to be that guiding light to those that may not even talk about it. They just may watch how you guys move and how you operate and deal with each other, and you might inspire them. Even if they're married for, 20 plus years, they may be able to just look at how you guys are with one another and, take away from that, and also probably remind them and take when they were in your shoes. And I hope that even for, any other couples that are, watching this conversation right now, that they're able to even sit down and go back down memory lane and reminisce on what year 1 was like and what dating was like and moving in with one another, and, just building that refresher of, what things were, right? And maybe even make that switch to bring some of those things back, right? So I know the trips aren't going to stop. I know you guys do well. Keep those things coming and having fun. And but most importantly, keep appreciating one another. Because I can tell you that your future selves would be super proud that you did, right? And again, I love you guys dearly. I appreciate you definitely sharing your love journey with the audience. And again, just because I had a front row seat to their story doesn't mean that you didn't get a chance to experience that as well. So again, lovebirds, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Love in the Details. And I hope that, maybe the next episode, it's you and your partner, sitting wherever you want us to sit. I come to you, we figure it out. But most importantly, keep the love going, and keep tuning in for these epic journeys down memory lane. So until the next time, keep loving, lovebirds, and we'll see you on the next episode. Peace.
Thanks for tuning in, lovebirds. Remember, love shines brightest in the little things. We'll see you next time on Love in the Details.